Oh, fuck. Hello, hello, hello. I'm trying to get all of the software up and running. Yeah, as easy as it looks. So here we go. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Close the Kitchen. I am so happy to see everybody. So excited to be here. Let me run you through what Close the Kitchen is. So, also, I can't see your name, so if you're here, just like write your name down, just as Facebook user, because I'm gonna get them off the platform. So anyway, so back in the COVID era, I had this idea, which was like we need to be together and we need to be connected. And during COVID, it was like so like right for eating disorders and for all the stuff that was going on. Like nobody even knew what was happening. And so it's like I just had this idea at the way beginning, I don't know, probably beginning of March, like, you know what? I'm gonna come on Instagram and Facebook and I don't think TikTok was such a big thing back there. And just gonna talk to everybody and we're gonna bond. And so the first thing I want to say is like it was called Close the Kitchen because we did it at night. Hi everyone was so like overwhelming. Times were so overwhelming. So many of us were like binging our brains out without our permission. And like it was a mess. And it really worked. And we all got so connected. And, we did it for 90 days because it was the pandemic and I had no idea how long it was going to last. So we call it Close the Kitchen because like that's what we called it back in the day. But the intention of why we're doing it now is not like it's a pandemic, but holidays can feel like a pandemic, that's for sure. And I just think it's such a nice thing for us to like sit down with each other during like this is like the real rubber to the road of holiday season. Like right now I'm in my office, but like who really knows where I'm going to be taking these things from? That's what I can tell you. I might have to like walk out of a party. Who knows? But it is about prioritizing our commitment to ourselves and about our commitment to our recovery in a time that's really tricky. And holiday time can be tricky if you have a lot of plans. Holiday time can be tricky if you have no plans. Holiday time can be tricky if you have medium plans. And so here we are. We're just going to try to get it done like this. And I'm so happy to see everybody. There's so many people I haven't seen in a long time all over the place. And I'm just so thrilled about it. So, anyway, the other thing I want to say is like, I don't know, shoot me a DM because I'm doing these from the 22nd, which is today, all the way through January 2nd or 3rd. I'm going to do them all through the new year. And I have stuff I want to talk about, but like, is there a topic that like we should chat about while I'm here? I don't know. That's what I'm here for. So it's not necessarily like you're here and you need to lock your kitchen. Like that's not even my vibe. But this is going to be about commitment to ourselves and commitment to our relationship with food and just commitment to connection every single night. And that's what we're going to mean because when I'm done talking, ha ha ha, when I'm done talking, I'm going to ask everybody to close the kitchen with me. And I don't mean like go lock your kitchen. I mean, what we're going to say by close the kitchen is we're going to be making a commitment to ourselves and to our relationship with ourselves. And we're going to commit it to this group. And I have very high hopes for the whole thing, is all I want to say. I have very high hopes, and I'm thrilled to be here. So here's what I was thinking about today, and here's what I want to like bring for our topic, which it was a session, a coaching session that I had today with somebody. And we were well, he was really, really struggling with his food. And but by that I mean he had these loving guidelines. He had what he knew was an integrity with food, with his relationship with food, and he just like wasn't matching. Like it wasn't, he just wasn't doing it. Like nothing, like it wasn't working. And I was so curious. So my question was, what happens when, and this is just like an example, what happens to you when, you are going there and all of a sudden you're in a coffee shop and a pastry is in your mouth? What's the conversation that happens? What is it? What is the languaging that allows for you to cross your own limits? And he was sort of like, I don't know. I don't think there are any. And I was like, oh my goodness. and what um and what I said to him and what I want to say to you, I was like, well, like no wonder your house, it's like your house is getting robbed every day and you just like leave the door unlocked. And you're like, yeah, my house gets robbed. And so I was really thinking about this idea, and I think it really speaks true when we're coming into situations with families, with people, with parties, with, you know, rituals. And I also want to say on the other side of that, as someone who has all of my family is far away, and I'm actually kind of like by myself with my dog. So I think that can be equally as challenging. And so, in order to stay in integrity with yourself, in order to stay in this relationship with yourself, and your relationship with food, you have to have some security measures, right? You want to maybe build a fence around your yard so that at least like criminals have to jump over a fence. You have to maybe purchase a ring light, not that's what I have on. You have to purchase like a ring software so that you can like watch a replay if somebody comes and tries to break into your house. You may want to get my dog's joking. He's very loud and very street. You may want to get a guard dog. And I want us to use this analogy to like think about as these events are coming up, what are going to be our own personal guidelines, our security system of sorts, to make sure that we're thriving through the challenging time. And here's the exciting thing about it: buy one, get all. You can have this security system and you can use it not just in the times of the holidays, you can use it on any given Wednesday in March if you'd like. It's a really good thing to start to think about, because if you're feeling nervous about your relationship with food, or you're feeling nervous about, these events that are coming up, of course you want to have a plan, but if you actually don't have like a mechanism that's going to protect you and that's going to alert you when something's going wrong, it's not going to be so impossible to think that maybe things are going to go wrong, right? So I want us to think about that. I know for me, I have a lot of bright lines. Is really where I start. I there are a lot of, at least from a food perspective, a lot of things I that don't really work for me, for my nervous system and for my endocrine system. And I know that might sound restrictive to some, but actually it's so wonderful because then it's not an option. These are not foods that I eat, right? I also really try to like, when I'm at parties, I try not to like do the appetizer portion, because like that really messes with like my whole regulation system. And the third thing is, when I go to parties, I try to keep, this is one of my security system things, because I don't like to, I do love a deep conversation with my besties. If you're one of my besties on one of these platforms, I love a deep conversation. But with strangers, I don't like a deep conversation. I'm not really so into it. So I actually bring with myself a bunch of really light topics to chat with. That's part of my security system. So I have really bright lines around my food, and I kind of have bright lines around conversation topics. Like I just bring a few. As I said in a group I ran on Wednesday, the Jason Kelsey documentary, Kelsey, is at the top of my list. And so you just sort of have these things to go with. And so it's really a great thing to think about, because you can be walking into these situations feeling so incredibly powerless, right? You can be like, oh God. And by the way, I try to also in my security system, like bring up positive or like possible attitude. Like I bring an attitude of possibility, like maybe this won't be the worst thing that ever happened to me. I feel like if we walk into these family events or these parties being like, oh, this thing's gonna suck, like high probability you're not gonna really be able, even if it's like a terrible party, it's gonna be very hard to find like these golden threads that maybe seemed in the party. So I do want you to think about your space. I want you to think about like this emotional, spiritual space that you're in when you're going in and like just give some space for possibility that it might not suck. It'll suck a little less if you're not just waiting for it to suck because you may be able to be open to see like where are the miracles? Where are the miracles? Where are the miracles? Miracles, where are you? So that's my little nuggets for you tonight. Create this little security system. Try to make it work. And here's the thing, the favor I want you to do for me. Either you can DM me, and let me know like what we should be talking about at Close the Kitchen. The other thing I really want to say, and I want to say this every single time that we're together, especially in the relationship with food, is this: everything is reparable. Everything is reparable. And so I don't want you walking in and like this is the analogy I use all of the time. And so for those who know me, sorry, sort of, yeah, light, easy, light topics is honestly the best go because our relationship with food gets really messy. Usually the prompting event, usually the trigger of sorts is the humans, right? Because humans gonna human. And people don't know better. Everyone's going to ask, the bucket questions. What's your relationship status? How's work? How's your family? And if any of those are trigger points, you want to have a quick thing to talk about. Like, oh, my mom's doing great. But did you see that Kelsey documentary? It was incredible, right? I'm also very into talking about elevator training my dog, but I might talk about that tomorrow. So that's what I want you to think about. But I want to remind you that when it comes to your relationship with food, everything is reparable. Every single thing is reparable. So I don't want us using these next, 10 days as a whip on ourselves. I want us to be working hard to try to be as close as we can get to what integrity looks like for us, because that's just a good practice to have in life. If you fall short, let's get some data points. Let's figure out what happened. Let's use that information to push forward and just like try to do better. Because if you can get into that kind of cycle, aiming for integrity, falling short, doing some research, getting back in the game, and number one, you are going to be getting such traction and you're going to be creating such a space for self esteem. And the other thing, which I'm going to be talking about after Christmas, you make yourself so much less vulnerable to these diet culture vultures that are flying around your feed right now, trying to get you, trying to sell you. You're better than that. And if you're not better than that, let's spend the next 10 days getting you better than that. Okay. So, anyway, your homework. Think about what you want us to be doing here. Hi, Shelly. Think about what you want us to be doing here at Close the Kitchen. Send me a little DM. I'd love to hear about it. And remember that everything is reparable. And because everything is reparable, we can be just trying our hardest. That's the thing. You can remember that everything's reparable, then you actually can go in and try to be living this life with the most integrity that you can. Okay, so here's what we do now. This is like my favorite part of the whole thing. Right now, we make this commitment to our recovery. We make a commitment to our recovery. And so maybe we don't even want to say close the kitchen, but we want to say committed to integrity. I believe wholeheartedly, especially on lives, that when we commit it, like when we say it in the screen and say, I commit to my recovery, I commit to myself, I commit to integrity, I'm closing the kitchen. So I really want you to use the comment sections and like, there we go. Somebody, in Facebook, I can't see your names, but on the Facebook page, somebody's saying, I'm committed to the next 10 days. Here's the beauty of that. You don't have to be committed to the next 10 days. I don't want you to be committed to the next 10 days. Isn't that wild? Just be committed until tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We got over on Facebook. People are closing the kitchen, committed to integrity. No need. 10 days is such a long time to commit to. It gives me a headache. Just commit to right now. Oh, good. Carton, I'm committed to my recoveries. Anybody else before we shut it down for the night? Does any good? Penny's committed for tonight. Get it, get it. Good job. Leanne is committed to her recovery. Just from 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's how we're doing it. We're just committing to our recovery for a little bit. Yay. Sarah's committed right now to her recovery. That is so amazing. Anybody else? Good. Kitchen is closed. I commit to my recovery until 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Closed and committed. Committed to right now. Committed to grace and dignity. Committed to one more day. All right, team. Send me some topics. But I always have a topic. But I do want to like be at least, serving my audience. I'm going to be chatting at everybody for 15 minutes every night. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow night. Love you, love you, love you. Stay in touch. DM me. I'm around. I'm here to love you and to be a part of your life. Thanks so much for doing this to me. And want to do me a favor? Spread the word. The more, the merrier. Love you all. And I will see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Mwah. Bye. Thank you. Love you.